morning, good afternoon, whenever you're listening to this, welcome to the internet's most sophisticated wrestling podcast, discussing the weekly aspects of it all, right here on
The Bald Monkeys Wrestling Podcast.
Well, welcome everybody back to another brand spanking new edition of the Bald Monkeys Wrestling Podcast. I am the captain, Captain Chuckles. I got Mr. Christopher over here, and tonight we are on the line, the phone line this time. No video tonight, people, because our guest is driving
in transit.
We have a hometown brethren of myself, the Big Bad Kaiju. We have O'Shea Edwards.
Man, that's one of the best introductions I've ever got before in my life, man. That was awesome. Hell yeah. That's all about that.
That's what we do, and welcome, sir.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me. I was really looking forward to this, man. Not often it's like, hey, we want to do this at 10 o'clock. And I'm like, that's fucking perfect. Let's do it at 10 o'clock.
We are somewhat night owls, so 10 o'clock is good for us.
We aim to please.
I'm about that life. I'm so about that life.
So we really appreciate it. O'Shea is obviously with us tonight because we are building up to Action Wrestling, having 2 days and 4 shows going on, a whole bunch of stuff. In two states. We're going to drive around.
A whole lot of craziness.
We're sponsoring. The Bald Monkeys logo is going to be everywhere. Well, probably not everywhere, but most places. I am probably going to be there causing trouble, so look out. But
I will not be there.
More importantly, we need to learn more about O'Shea Edwards, and we need everybody else to learn more about O'Shea. So, to start the interview, like we start everything, O'Shea Edwards, what was a young O'Shea Edwards like?
Whew. A young O'Shea Edwards was a fat, short, pudgy kid who was a giant nerd. I grew up on like Saturday morning cartoons, and then when I got a little bit older, I say older, but like middle schoolish, like elementary school, it was about like, Robotech on UPN. At 4 o'clock on Cartoon Network. That was my shit. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing as a kid. And so, like, I was big on sports. My parents weren't like super strict, but they were really like, you're gonna do something. Like, you were gonna do something. So it was always sports. So like in the fall it was football, in the spring it was baseball, and then I spent like the winter and the summer pretty much like doing whatever I could just to kind of like get out of the house. But I had to sneak wrestling in as a little kid. I had to sneak it in. Growing up, I was one of the rare ones. I wouldn't say I was a rich kid, but I had a TV in my room, and everybody like wigged out. You got a TV in your room? I'm like, yeah, man, we got cable. You got cable? I'm like, yeah. I had that old TV where if you push like 9-9, you get the squiggly porn channel, and it's yeah. I think that's a titty.
I've been there, brother. I've been there.
But growing up, man, like I had to sneak wrestling. I had to sneak it in, so I got a little older. And then like my parents kind of like, look, he's gonna do it anyway, so you might as well let him do it. I tell people used to ask like, what's like my earliest memory, and my earliest memories, like I'm originally from New York, but I was raised in Atlanta. My parents split up when I was little. My mom moved to Georgia, and like my dad stayed in New York. So every summer I go to see him. Like those are my summers. I spend time with him. So I just started getting into wrestling. He goes, "What do you want to do this summer?" And I was like, "Dad, I want to see wrestling." And he looked at me as if I had another head growing out the side of my neck. And he was like, "You want to do what?" And I was like, "I want to go watch wrestling." And he's like, "What kind of wrestling?" And I was like, WWF wrestling. And he looked at me like, "What do you know about that?" And I just went on this tangent of just like, I know this and I know that, da 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 da. And like, he was like, if you want to go, I'll take you. I was like, for real? He was like, yeah. So it was my first trip ever to Madison Square Garden, and it was, yeah, right? 8 years old. I have no clue where I'm at right now. I'm just know I'm in downtown New York City, like whatever. We're like upper deck, house show, and my dad spent all this money for like a seat, and I'm pretty sure I sat on like the edge of it the entire night. I was going insane. Like I was losing my mind. It was great. Growing up, boy, I'm about to date myself, but whatever. Like my favorite wrestler at the time was Ahmed Johnson. Like that was my dude. That was my dude. And to see him in person for the first time, it blew the back of my head off. Like, what? This dude is, like, I looked at my dad. My dad's a big guy. Like, my dad's bigger than me. I was like, Dad, can you beat him up? And he looked at him and looked at me and goes, I don't think so, man. And it was the greatest time of my life as a kid. Like, it was the greatest time of my life. You know, as I grew up, I got bigger into it, you know. I was a big WCW kid, real big WCW kid. Probably because, like, I had a bedtime growing up, you know, so I had to be in bed by, like, 10:30. Well, Nitro was over at 10. Raw didn't go up till 11. So I had to go to school on Tuesdays and ask all my friends who were allowed to stay up, like, hey, what happened? Because he's like, you didn't watch it? Man, let's not talk about that right now. Just tell me what happened. And then, you know, from there, just kind of grew up and kind of did whatever. But yeah, as a kid, man, that was it, dude. I played sports because I was big, but I didn't really like it. Like, I loved football, but I wasn't in love with football. I was just naturally good at it. And so, but it wasn't anything I wanted to do for a living. Like, I just didn't. I just did it so I can go to college. That's it, man. It's like, y'all gonna pay for it? Yeah, I'll play. Sure, I guess, whatever. But growing up, man, that was me in a nutshell, man. I played with Legos, GI Joes, you know, the whole thing. Like, I was a real creative kid. Like, I drew a lot. I still do to this day. Like, I had all these sketchbooks where I just drew. That's all. Just anything popped in my head, I just drew it out, sketched it out. And like I said, even now as an adult, I still do it. Like, if it's a dot in my head and I have a pen and a piece of paper, I'm going to sketch it out.
That's awesome. The fact that your first like live wrestling event was Madison Square Garden is awesome. And
yeah, man.
My first live wrestling event was also at Madison Square Garden.
Dude, did we just become best friends?
I think we did. I mean, and you mentioned Legos.
Legos.
So.
You mentioned Legos, which is like Chuck's thing. So that's like.
I really do think we became best friends. Like, just like that, we became best friends.
Boom. Just like that.
Just like that.
So, O'Shea, you mentioned Ahmed Johnson, and I'm interested, like, besides Ahmed Johnson, which obviously was a great – I love – you didn't date yourself. You just made yourself sound that much cooler, to be honest, because I always love when people pull out, like, a wrestler that not everybody talks about mainstream.
Right,
and Ahmed was awesome, you know, coming out with the bright red tights and just being that bulky guy. Like, he was one of the first really big guys to start just powerhousing people back in the in the 90s or so, right?
Yeah,
so who else was there? Was there anybody else that stood out to you that got you really psyched about wrestling, or even got you to the point where you were like, man, I want to be like him, or maybe I could do what he does?
Right. Like I said, so when I was younger, it was like real Ahmed Johnson, you know, all that good stuff. But like I said, as I was growing up, I was so big on WCW. Man, so Booker T was my guy. Like Harlem Heat, Booker T, Stevie Ray, man, those were my guys. I tell people all the time, like, man, from the hours of 8 to 9, you had me. 901, I couldn't give a shit about it. Like, I don't care. Like, who cares? It's whatever. Like Booker T, like Stevie Ray were really big. And then on the flip side, man, like, dude, Ron Simmons was my guy.
Love Ron.
To the point where even my dad was like, what time he's called Fruit? Even my dad was like, is that Ron Simmons? And I'm a kid. I go, no, Dad, that's Farouk.
That's
like, no, you little shit. That's Ron Simmons. no clue. And then he showed me who Ron Simmons was, and I was like, oh, that's Ron Simmons. And ever since then, like, that's who he was. I love the way, like, how, like, Ron, like, when he talked, you shut up and you listen to him. He could say the alphabet. You will shut up and you will listen to him recite the alphabet, and then you will say, thank you for telling me the alphabet today. That he had that presence about him that I just absolutely adored. But the one thing I really loved though was like on WW was the luchadors, the cruiserweights. I loved them because it was such a flip on everything else that I watched. These guys were fast. These guys were precise. And it just, I don't know why it enamored me so much, because I know in the second half of that show, I'm not going to get this anymore. Like, it's going to be real slow, real methodical, and 9 times out of 10, the NWO is going to come in and, called it, whatever. Yep. And then, of course, like, when Goldberg popped up, like, you get swept up in it. You know, that was cool. But, like, there was always, like, man, like, watching Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio go was amazing to me.
Nothing
like nothing like it. And then I think when they introduced Kidman, and I nearly crap myself when I saw him do a shooting star press for the first time. I was like, what is that? Like, what was that? That was awesome. Do that all the time. I love this move. Because not to mention WWF didn't have that at the time. So to me, that's what hooked me. That's exactly what hooked me. And then of course, as I grew up a little bit more into, like, I like, The Rock was always my guy. Like, even now, like, I'd probably start crying if he called my phone. You know what I'm saying? He comes to the door, I will fall on the floor and just start crying, like, whatever. When I was 16, my parents gave me tickets to Monday Night Raw in Atlanta. And they gave it to me on Christmas, and I didn't know what to do. I was like, what? They gave us, like, floor level, like, the whole nine. Like, they spent no – I was like, this is awesome. So Monday Night Raw, it's the first time I've ever been, and I'm losing it. Like, this is cool as hell. Everybody's so big. And they go to commercial. It's no big deal. And then, like, so I got to see the Dudley Boys, who I loved at the time, still do. You know, Kane, the bitch. Like, it's commercial, and I'll never forget it. And I didn't stay for commercial, but all of a sudden, the Rock's music hit. Until that moment, because I kid you not, I went deaf for like maybe 3 seconds. I couldn't hear anything. It was that loud, and that was the point where I was like, not so much I wanted to be a wrestler, but like, I want that. Like, I want that moment where something that's mine hits and the place just shits itself. Like, that's what I want. Like, everybody was on their feet. Yeah, everybody's on their feet. It's like 30,000 people in a Phillips Arena, all just standing. I'm just like, like, what is happening right now? This is amazing. And he did all, he did what he does best, whatever. And he just had the crowd. And I was like, I want that. I don't know what it is, but I want that. And it's such a feeling to get that once you get it the first time, it's like chasing the dragon. You're just going after it. I want it again, because that feeling is indescribable. But if you felt it, man, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about. And like, so somebody like, hey man, explain it to me. And I told him, I was like, you remember, like, I told people, like, YouTube NBA playoff buzzer beaters or March Madness buzzer beaters. That is the closest you're going to get to it. Mm-hmm. At one moment in time where everything in the world accumulates to that one moment, and boom, the roof blows off. That's as close as you're going to get. And
it's just saying, it's amazing how passionate you're talking about something that's happened obviously a few years ago, and you're reciting exactly what happened, and you could hear it in your voice how excited you're getting right now just talking about it.
I love this stuff, dude. I
It's
love
in your
it.
veins, right?
It
It's
is, man.
It's in your veins.
It is who I am, and I don't shy away from it. Like I tell people all the time, I was like, "Hey, we gotta talk wrestling. Sure you want to do that?" Like I get pretty amped up, like really fucking quick. Like, are you sure? You're like, "Yeah, all right, man. Here we go. here we go." You know what I'm saying? So and I tell people something. I'm not the most knowledgeable guy in the world. Like I can't recite every single match that happened in 1966. I'm like, I can't. Like I don't. But I know what I like. I know, and what I like, I know it. Like I know it. And so like for me, it's like you can't tell. Like you'll never be able to say, "Oh, O'Shea's not passionate about what he does. This is a job to him." Oh no, this is more than just like a job to me. Like this is who I am. Like this is what I've been wanting to do before I even know what I wanted to do. Yeah. And now that I have it, I'm like, it's going to be a cold day in hell the day I got to walk away. Like, it just is. So, you know, anytime I get to talk wrestling or anytime I get to, like, God's put me in something, hey, man, did you watch it? What do you think? And I get to, like, express, like, this type of love and passion I have for it because I want the guy next to me to get better. Like, it drives me to get better because I always keep like a football mentality in the back of my head. Like I can give this guy all the advice in the world on how to get better. It's going to be up to him to do it. But if he does it, in about a year, this kid's going to be breathing down my neck. And I can't have that. So I have to work harder to keep the gap, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like not to be a jerk, but it's like, no, I gotta keep pushing forward because man, this kid's trying to take my roster spot and I work too hard to give this roster spot up, dog. I got to keep hustling. I got to keep moving forward. So, any chance I get like to really like talk wrestling in depth, like I get hyped really quickly.
You can hear it. You can hear the excitement and the passion that you have, you know, for the industry in your voice. Just talking about, you know, when you first saw a show, what you remember from some of the shows that you've seen, and I think, you know, sports is one thing. You know, you have, everybody has a story if they're into sports about, you know, when they saw something live or this and that, but it's like sometimes it's a whole other level when you're talking about something that happened at a Raw, at a SmackDown, at a pay-per-view, you know, even at an independent show where something crazy ass happens and you're like, holy shit, I was there that night that X happened.
Right. Dude, these are such moments. And I told somebody all the time, I was like, hey, man, before I was an athlete, before I was a wrestler, before I was anything else, I was like, I was always a storyteller. Like, always a storyteller. And some of the best stories will always stick with you. Some of the best moments will always stick with you. And despite it all, like, I refuse to let wrestling get in the way of a damn good story. I refuse. Because at the end of the day, no one cares about what cool move you did. No, man, they want to know about the moments. Like, what was the moment for you? Like, one of my favorite matches of all time is Monday Night Raw Gold Rush. Shelton Benjamin's HBK. What's the best match I've ever fucking seen?
That super kick. Woo!
The super, you knew exactly where I was going with that.
Yep.
It wasn't the match. It was a super kick.
It's the super kick.
And here's the thing. Like, you can pick match in your head. But I challenge you to go back on YouTube, watch it, right? Get back to the point where that super kick's about to happen. There's a dude in the front row who is wearing a sleeveless, yellow Hulkamania shirt and bandana. That dude pops so hard for that move. And I'm like, that whole match in front of 25, 30 was for that dude. That whole match, that dude right. It was infectious. Like, dove from that one person. And like, dude, I want to create a moment that's just for you. And if everybody else wants to come along for it, bravo. But this is for you. Like that stuff, man. That's that, like right in that sweet spot, you know, when, woo, that's good stuff right there. Like that.
That's good shit.
Yeah, man. Like that's good. That's that good shit right there. Yeah.
Well, now before you got into the actual industry, I know that you played football in college down in Georgia, I believe.
Yep.
You also had a couple of other careers that you kind of hit. One of them being a firefighter. What was life like before, you know, you got into the ring, and what was that point that you said, this is what I got to do, and that what is wrestling?
So it was busy. Up until this point, like I've been a fireman for like 15 years. So I identify with being a fireman. I love being a part of something that was bigger than me. You know, I thrive on chaos. Not saying that I go around like setting shit on fire, but like I find peace in chaos because while the rest of the world's going to shit in a handbasket around me, I'm the only one to level head. Like, okay, like I got it. Not a problem. Like this isn't a problem for me. There's no big deal. Believe it or not, like when it's really peaceful, I get antsy. Like I'm like, ugh, like I don't like this. But I find peace in chaos, and at the fire department, that's what it was. Like you go from 0 to 100 very quickly, and on a dime, just whoop, do this now. Okay, cool. It wasn't till about maybe like my 10th or 11th year in where I kind of got out of wrestling for a little bit. It just wasn't my bag. It just wasn't appealing to me anymore. So I kind of took a break, and I kind of got back into it. And I was like, man, I really feel as if I can do this. Like I feel like I can not. I feel like I can do this. I think about it enough. I think I can do this. But at the time, like a lot of schools around the area were like wanting like, hey man, it's $5,000. I'm sorry, what? Do I get a? And I say five. I use that number arbitrarily, but I'm like, do I get a car for that? Like, do I get a degree and a diploma? You know, I got college credit. Like, does that count? But you know, I kind of had to do a little searching. You know, kind of figure out what I want to do. And so my very first trainer, man, was Johnny Swinger, and he had a class. He did like a one-off, like every other week, like every week, like 2 days a week, he do a one-off, like a Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I hit him up, and he was like, this is like in like close to Christmas, so they kind of like took a break. He's like, yeah, man, it's $20. I'll run you the ropes. I'll show you the basics, da-da-da-da-da. And guys, see if you like it. You know, $20 drop it. I'm like, you can't beat that.
No way.
So
yeah, awesome.
So for like 4 months, man, I just showed up. I was the first one in, and I was the last one out. First one in, last one out. Like, you literally had to, like, pull me out. Because when I would tag in, do my stuff, I keep going, and, like, as soon as I tagged out, I was trying to tag myself back in. Like, I didn't want to leave. I did a few little Georgia rinky-dink shit shows here and there, you know, whatever, to see what it was all about. And then I came across some guys like, hey, man, like, where you training at? And I told them, like, north of Atlanta, you know, kind of driving like an hour and some change, get out that way, da-da-da-da. And like, well, you know Robert Gibson lives in Georgia. And I was like, no, I didn't. And they said, well, he has a school, like, west of Atlanta. It's a shorter drive. And, you know, for guys who have been trained, it's about $20 drop-in. Oh, okay. Now, I don't consider at the time, I didn't consider myself trained by any stretch of imagination. But for the most part, like, you could put me in the ring and I wouldn't shit the bed. Let's put it like that. Mm-hmm. So one day I show up, and Robert looks at me up and down, and he goes, lock up with me. And from that point on, dude, he was like, you're doing this wrong. Okay. And then that's kind of how it went. So for the longest time, I was juggling firefighting and wrestling. And if I was on shift a weekend, of course, like I wouldn't wrestle and this, that, and the other. So for years, man, it was me literally juggling like a full-time job, a part-time job, training, and wrestling all at the same time. Because it's what I wanted to do. Like I really felt as if I had a knack for it. You know, and so that's what I did for the longest time. And then like 2016, like I got a chance to like try out. I think Ring of Honor had like a little camp. So I took some time off of work and I went up there, did that, and like came back with the biggest fire underneath my ass that I've ever felt before. And like after like October 2016, man, it was like, it is on. And I just started hustling and just grinding as much as I could. Until it got to the point where really, like you guys said before, like I had to make a decision. Like I enjoy being a fireman. Like I really do. Like I had rank. Like I was a lieutenant. You know, I had my own truck. I had my own station. Like I had a crew. I had a crew of 7 guys, and we got it. Like we were fucking cowboys. Like we did some shit that we don't even talk. Like hey, we don't talk about that shit. Like we don't talk about that. But, like, it was one of those, like, but we know we shouldn't have did that, but we did it anyway. We didn't get in trouble. We all went home. That's really all that matters. But I knew I had a decision to make. And so me and my wife, we sat down and we talked about it. And we kind of came to this, like, hey, if we're going to do this, like, there's no – we can't half-ass it. Like, we got to go all in. And I'm like, you know what that means, right? She's like, yeah, I know what it means, but we got to do it. Because if not, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. And I'm like, that I will. And so, back in, 2019, we said, screw it. We just sold the house and left.
Damn, that the juggling of 2 careers, and it's just so much to, like, wrap my head around, because I'm just thinking about, like, I have some friends that are firefighters, so I know what the schedule is like. And, you know, we've talked to plenty of wrestlers, so we know what that schedule is like. And trying to mix that, man, the drive and the drive and the passion that you have for this industry shows in every little aspect of your life going forward.
Man, but I say it before, like the hustle, the dream is free. The dream is free. The hustle sold separately. We all have dreams. You know, everybody has, I dream doing this. I'm like, what are you going to do for it? How much is it worth to you? I tell people all the time, I was like, you can dream all day long, you know, but I bet money right now that, like, what it's going to ask, like, the cost of it, you ain't got it. Like, it's not to be a dick, but it's just like, hey, man, like, you may be coming up short. You know, like, I think that car's going to get declined on you because it's going to want so much from you. And if you're not ready to give it up, you know, it stays a dream. It stays a dream. And that's not me, like, you know, knocking on anybody. And that's not me, like, you know, I guess that's not me trying, like, to be mean to anybody, you know, but I'm like, yeah, it's the reality of it. Like, the whole phrase that wrestling is for everybody. No, it's not. Like, no, it's not.
It is not for my wife. She is like, no, not interested in wrestling. I'll listen to your interviews, but if you guys are just sitting around for an hour and a half talking about wrestling, I'm
out. Right, I'm out. But even still, like, wrestling isn't for anybody. And I'm not saying it's not inclusive. No, it's very inclusive. I was like, but the dream is free. The hustle sold separately. There are some people who will hustle harder than the next guy.
Yep.
That doesn't mean he's still going to make it, though. It just doesn't, you know. But you owe it to yourself to find out how far this thing goes. If this is what you want to do, you owe it to yourself. Because if you're going to sit there all day and wonder, oh man, I could have made it if I could have made it, but I'm like, man, then you didn't do it right. You didn't do it right, man. So it became one of those things for me was, you know, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm gonna do. And come hell or high water, like I'm gonna have a level of success with this. What that level entails, like I don't know. Like, does that mean I'm on a main stage internationally? I don't know. Does that mean I become a regional guy? I don't know. Does that mean I become a national? Like, I don't know. But I know regardless of the stage I'm at, I will be the best at the stage that I am at. And if I get a chance to do bigger, I'm going to take that step, and then I'm going to work my ass off to become the best at the stage that I'm on. And that hustle of mine is I have pissed a few people off. I have lost friends. I guess I really can't call them friends, but it's just like, nah, man, like this is it. Like I audit my circle, my inner circle. I audit it weekly. And if I don't think you're not doing what's necessary to stay in my circle, I quietly let you go. And you get replaced. Simple as that. Because you are the sum of the people you associate with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to win. So I'm trying to associate myself with winners.
I've learned two things that have to come out of this podcast, this episode, from that one little segment. One is there needs to be a T-shirt. The dream is free on the front and the hustle on the back. That's one. And two, that's the shirt. And two, I want an O'Shea Edwards positivity podcast. Because like just that little bit right there, I'm like, man, if I heard that every morning when I woke up, I'd be like,
run through a brick wall.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. You know what? Because you said brick wall, you were the third person in about a year and a half I've ever heard say that when I talk. Like you get me so amped, I'll run through a brick wall for you. I'm like, dude, let's go. Let's go.
It's true.
Who's that brick wall ever beat? You know, like fuck that guy.
Now, some people hit brick walls and they fall right down. Now, what was your first bump like in the ring? You know, how did it feel when you hit the mat for the first time? Was it half exhilaration, half pain? Was it, oh my God, I'm doing this? What was the feeling?
Well, honestly, I tell people something. It didn't hurt. Like I said, I grew up getting knocked around all my life. I joined the fire department. Getting knocked down like all the time, you know. It was a thing where like I had to get up because if I didn't, man, I was dead. So you better get up. When I was afraid I was gonna like hit the back of my head, so I was really worried about it. So my very first bump was really like, I don't want to say timid, but you can tell I was trying to like figure it out. And so the trick was they made me act like as if I was sitting down, like you're sitting in a chair, like you do an air squat. I was like, okay. And they just push me. Bam. And they kick your feet out and fall. Bam. And I had it. And I was like, oh, that's it? That's it? Oh, I got this. And so we went from like, I was taking shoulder tackle bumps. I would do like, oh, can you do a front flip? Sure fucking can. I would do like, you know, front bumps and all that good stuff. And eventually I just had it. I was like, all right, cool. And like, so bumping wasn't an issue for me, and it was not that big a deal. But once I got that first one out the way, I kind of looked around like, oh, you know, you boys fucked up now, right? You know you fucked up.
You guys are in trouble.
Yeah, you guys are in some big trouble now. I figured it out.
Oh, that's too funny. Now you mentioned Ring of Honor really quickly, and I know you've done you've done a bunch of stuff for the Future of Honor. What has the experience like with Ring of Honor? You know, how has it been for you?
So you're gonna have to excuse all the sports metaphors. So, I said I told people before, like, working with Ring of Honor is like going from high school football to college football. When you're in high school and you're the best person on that team, you're the man. You're the man on that team. But then you go to college, and then you realize that everybody on that team was the man in high school. You know? So now it doesn't matter that you were the man. I was a man in high school. I don't care. That don't mean shit to me. You know? And then on top of that, your playbook goes from like a few pieces of paper stapled together to a fucking textbook. Mm-hmm. And you got to learn it on the fly. Mm-hmm. And so getting a chance to work with them has been one of the most frustrating in a good way, and the most humbling in a good way. Because just when you think you have it, you don't. Just when you think, oh, yeah, man, I've got this down packed. No, you don't. And then on top of that, he's like, let me show you why. Oh, okay. So, because now you're not wrestling in front of like 100 or 500 people. No, man, now you're going to wrestle in front of like maybe 5,000, 10,000 people. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to wrestle people at home. Oh, that's right. We do TV here. Yeah, mm-hmm. Jackass. We do TV here. Oh, okay. I got it. So, you have to change your game up a little bit. But the beauty of it is when you change your game up like that, your game automatically evolves because one or two things are going to happen. Either you elevate yourself to hang in there with some of the best in the world, or two, you're going to fall off. One of the two. You're going to fall off. I refuse to fall off. Like at that point in time, man, like I said, I moved to Baltimore. I just quit my fire department job. I cannot go back. Like, no, that is done. So, man, I'm gonna go back to that job. Like, you didn't make it for wrestling, huh? You jerk. Like, no, I'm doing like this and that's what I'm saying. Once I took away that safety net from myself, like this has to work now. It has to work. So it was, hey man, you can suck this up real quick and get to fucking work. Because you can't go back to Atlanta. There's nothing for you there. So what's it going to be? And I was like, okay, the gauntlet has been laid out. Let's get better. And so within the time that I moved up here, man, like I said, things started hitting. And now I'm able to work. I know what I'm doing. Like for my size, I know what I'm doing. I know what works for me. I know what doesn't work for me. And then the guys at the dojo who we're going to pull any punches. Like, they're not going to be jerks to you. But if it doesn't work or if it's ugly, they're going to let you know. Like, hey, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Cool. Try something else. Hey, that works. Put that in your back pocket. But let's tweak this. Let's do this here. Let's do that there. Da-da-da-da. This, that, and the other. Blah, 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 blah. And before you know it, bam, you have a new sequence you have in your back pocket that you never thought you could do before. So now when I come back to Georgia or I come back to Tennessee or I start traveling, I start pulling out these little gems. Just wrestling gems. I'm like, when he left, he couldn't do that. I'm like, I'm back, baby, and I'm better than ever. Like, what's up? Let's go. And now when I work, I'm working like this whole other gear. And I tell people all the time of, hey, let's go, because I'm not going to downshift to accommodate you, right? We're going. And if you don't like it, well, hey, man, everybody's going to find out real quick that this ain't for you.
I was going to ask about motivation, but you covered that. We got the motivation. There's no safety net anymore. This is what it is. This, like you said, this is the dream, and you're hustling all the way to the top there. So, right. I mean, that's the motivation, people. I mean, that's what it is. So now you wrestle with Action. You're a little bit with Ring of Honor. This isn't a normal question that we kind of ask anybody, but, is there anywhere else that you want to wrestle in the future?
All right. You got a pen and pad ready? Because here we go.
Hold on. I got it right here. Let's go. Click the pen open.
So, I want to wrestle for freelance. I want to wrestle for Warrior Wrestling. I want to wrestle for AAW. I want to wrestle for AIW. I want to wrestle for Battle Club. I want to wrestle for AML. I want to go out west. I want to wrestle there. I want to go to the Pacific Northwest, and I want to wrestle out there. I want to go to Texas. I want to wrestle there. That's just for the indies. That's the top in my head, top tier indies like that. So I want to work for GCW. These are the guys who are on the cusp of just like, boop, you're there. And then on top of that, like that's just nationally. I'm not even done because I want to cross the border. I want to work for Smash. I want to work for Alpha One. I want to go across. I want to cross the sea. I want to work for Title, Riptide, Progress. Like I want to work for all of them. I don't want to leave a stone unturned. And I never want to be like, oh, man, I would have made it if I just wrestled for that person. Nah, I want to do it. And not because someone, oh, yeah, just use this guy. Like, no, I want you to call me. Like, hey, brother, we seen what you do, and we want you on our show. Cool, let's talk. 2021, I want a UK tour. Like, that is my singular goal in 2021 to take a month off from work and go, boom, I'm gonna wrestle in the UK for a month. I want to pull off a Sugar D. I want to pull off a Darius Lockhart and kill it for a month.
Well, I mean, if anybody has watched any of your matches, you could definitely do that. And as soon as all this outside crap goes away,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I can definitely see that happening in the States, in North America, across the globe. I can see it.
That's the plan. Oh, that is the plan. It's even sweeter if I do it by myself. Like there's no big name checking off on me. There's no major promotion signing off on me. It's like, no, man, I will succeed either with or without you. This train does not stop at all.
Yeah.
It's the Big Bad Kaiju Tour 2021.
I'm telling you, dude, just knocking over buildings, city by city.
I love it.
That's awesome. I love that answer because it's about what you can do and what you're gonna do. It's not about anything being handed to you. You're gonna earn every bit, and not only that, you want to go find out what's out there. And that's exciting in itself, is because you can go see the world doing something you love, which I think is like the coolest thing ever.
It is, man. It is. I've traveled the world twice over again, and that's outside of wrestling. The fire department got me traveling the world, and so I'm like, oh man, if I do this fighting fire, I'm pretty sure wrestling I can go a lot fucking further. And that's and that's been it. Like, you know, one of my biggest dreams is to wrestle in Japan. Okay, well, if I know I work for Ring of Honor, they do have ties with those guys, so more than likely, that's a better shot than I have doing it by myself. That doesn't mean I'm not gonna try to do it by myself. Like, why not? Yeah. But you know, it's just like, yeah, man, I owe it to myself to see how far this thing goes. I do. I really do owe it to myself to see how far it goes.
Yep. And I think it's something that we bring up a lot in our discussions and our interviews: timing and being ready. And if you're out there and you're constantly putting yourself out there and constantly wrestling and pushing yourself, you're gonna be ready, and the time's gonna come.
That's it, man. Because once you get ready, well, actually, not even getting ready. Once you get ready, you stay ready.
You stay ready.
Because once you stay ready, you never have to get ready ever again. You already, let's go. Oh, you can do this now? Yeah. I've been waiting on y'all. Oh, okay, cool.
All right, so let's get back to action wrestling. Speaking of waiting, we're waiting for the big day. We're waiting for Friday night fights. And Angelus Layne, you got a big match coming up. She just had a great match with Nolan Edward. People are talking about it. It just aired on IWTV tonight. What do you think about this match? What do you have in store for this big spot on the card?
All right, because I've been trying to be cool about this, but the minute I tape up all the time. I was like, there won't be no don't start no shit. There won't be no shit. The minute my name came out of her mouth, using her Twitter thumbs, I'm like, now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Like, the next 3 weeks are huge for me. I have to wrestle roughly 8 times in 6 days in the next 3 weeks. And I was going to be cool, like, just, let's have a banger and do whatever. Because I got some personal matches coming up. But the minute you say my name on some bullshit, I'm like, now I got to fuck you up. I was already going to fuck you up to begin with. Now I really got to fuck you up. Because it's real easy to talk shit on Twitter. Say that shit to my face and then see what happens. Because just because you got freedom of speech don't mean you ain't got freedom from consequences. And she's going to find out real fucking quick that I am the right one on the wrong day. Like, I told her on Twitter, like, I'll break your neck again. Like, I do not care right now. And, yeah, I'll go to Applebee's. And I know Applebee's ain't exactly fine dining. But you know what? There's no more fucking Sizzler. And Fogo de Chão don't close at fucking 11. So all I got is Applebee's. So it's whatever. But I'm like, you want to keep talking shit? I ain't Nolan Edwards. I don't need a table. I don't need a chair. I am the fucking weapon. I will take her career and her fucking neck and then, like I said, go have a beer like I just went to work. Because that's what it is. This is fucking work. She got the wrong one, but she going to find out, though. She going to find out. But it's cool, though. You know, hey, talk all the shit you want to. Talk is cheap. It's why everyone does it, but unfortunately for her, she's going to find out she has insufficient funds for the night.
It sounds like she might have bitten off a little bit more than she could chew for this
Oh,
match.
brother, there is no might. She has. All she had to do was shut the fuck up. That's all she had to do was shut the fuck up. Nope. And now her mouth wrote a check that her ass can't fucking cash. But I'm about to get my money, though. Believe that. I'm going to get my money.
And personally, I like Applebee's. Their raspberry tea is delicious. It's one of my favorites.
Brother, fucking riblets? Come on, man.
I got some riblets.
They got rid of the little onion petals, though.
Yeah?
Oh, you
They
get
got
rid of the
rid of
riblets?
No, they got the riblets. They got rid of the onion petals, man. Remember the little onion petals?
Those were good.
I love those
were
things.
good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it's whatever. Like I said, Friday, she, like I said, in 2 weeks, she's going to find out what's up. She will find out what's up. Case in point.
Oh, can't wait. Can't wait, O'Shea. I'm so excited for that match. So excited to be there,
And you get to
watching
be there,
live.
you
I
bastard.
am very excited. I'm going to be there. So I will stand back and you just do your business.
Yeah, like bring a poncho. Like I don't want to get matter on a shirt. You know what I'm saying? So,
Splash zone.
you know,
Yeah.
it's like a Gallagher show. It's like a Gallagher show. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll crush her head like a watermelon. I don't care.
Oh. All right. Things are getting tense in here. Let's calm it down a little bit. Let's get out of the wrestling ring. Let's get out of the wrestling ring. And what are you doing for a hobby? And most wrestlers don't have a ton of time. You mentioned a few things that you like to do when we were talking about what you were like as a young O'Shea, but what are you doing for hobbies? What kind of things are you into?
I'm still a nerd, so I have an Xbox and a PlayStation 4 that sits in my basement and on my curved TV, and I play that all the time. I love cars, so I have a little daily that I kind of putt around in all day, and I'm kind of tooling on that. Be honest with you, like even outside of the ring, like my mind's always business focused, so I'm always looking for like new graphic designers. I love taking in like new mediums of art. I like taking in mediums of like film because I'm going to use it. Yeah, I like to ask questions about how guys film this, how guys film that, because I want to film it. You know, I want to try it for myself. I want to see if it works. But like if I had to do nothing to do with wrestling, it's really going to be like I'll take the gym out of it. Like I'll take that out of it. Yeah. Like I love football. I love sports. I love live sports. I'll be like that. Live sports is the best. That way, the past 6 months has been like absolutely killer for me because I'm like, there's no live sports. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, the closest baseball team to me is the Orioles. The Orioles blow. But damn it, they're god awful. But I would love to go to a game.
Yeah.
I would go to Camden Yard. Like, come on, man. You know, like, I want to go see the Ravens play. Of course, I can't. Like, I just got into hockey. Holy shit, is that fun? I went to a Capitals game. I'm like, what is this? What is happening?
Our friendship has just blossomed to like level 4 now.
It's growing. We're at level 4. It's raising.
It's raging.
Both Christopher and I are huge hockey fans. So to hear you say that you now have a newfound love for the game is awesome.
Yeah. So like when we moved, people were like, oh yeah, like there's a bunch of minor league teams near you, and I was like, what? Like yeah. I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. Because our first game was Capitals games. Like it was close. It was like 40 minutes. So like whatever. So I guess we became like de facto Capitals fans. Like I don't know. I barely know half the teams. Like unless your name is Mario Lemieux or fucking Wayne Gretzky, I'm like, who are you? Like I don't know, bro. Like no disrespect, dude, but fuck, man, I don't know. But even still, like I love it. Like I had such a great time, and everybody there was so dope because we're sitting in there, and like a jackass, our first seats were like 7 rows back from the glass. Now I refuse to be anything else away from that glass.
Agreed.
I'm assuming we're 7 rows back, right? I don't mean the upper deck like a bunch of peasants, you know. So like we were sitting there, and you could tell I was a little confused about what was going on. So there's this family behind us, and they have like season tickets. And they were like, hey, we don't want to intrude, but is this your first time? And I'm like, yeah. Like, I've never been to a hockey game at all. Like, I watched it on TV, like, fleetingly, but, like, this is our first one. And they're like, oh. And they proceed to explain the entire game as it was happening. And I'm like, this is insane. I was like, so this game doesn't
do that.
I'm like, so, like, this game doesn't stop at all? They're like, no, unless someone's bleeding or someone's hurt, it's going to keep going. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah. I'm in for this. Hell yeah, I'm in for this. So, like, now I watch it on TV, and, you know, I still watch it, especially if the game's, like, close. But, like, man, I miss going live. Like, it's not the same, man. It's so not the same.
Yeah, live hockey to me is the best live sport that's out there right now.
And it's not expensive.
No,
it's not expensive at all, man. Like, I'm a Yankees fan, but hey, you want to go to a Yankees game? I'm like, you got a firstborn son you want to give up? Because that's what it's going to cost. Yeah, that's what it's going to cost to get you in. Not let alone find the seat.
Yeah. Well, again, you and Chuck, I mean, you guys can go to Applebee's, go back to his place, play with Legos, watch hockey. I mean, you guys are all set. I mean, it's going to work out really well.
Oh, we're gonna be good, man. We're gonna be de facto roomies pretty soon. Like, is he ever gonna leave? Nope.
Nope. So let's get on the road. You're on the road right now.
Yeah.
You mentioned you got really good stories that you can't tell us. Now, what kind of stories can you tell us? Because we love road stories, because there's always just fun things that happen. You've been traveling. You're one that wants to travel, wants to go around, is willing to travel for wrestling. Most wrestlers like to do that. What's going on the road? Give us a fun story that happened on the road. the beginning laugh is always good.
The
always
floodgates
good.
have opened.
Yeah, right? That's always the best part. So, man, so really, okay, cool. So, it's like actually October of like last year. I'm in the car. Actually, they kind of picked me up. Like, so it's the Carnies with Kevin Koo, and we all did action, and then they called spend the night at my house, and then we were gonna drive down to where we're gonna drive down to Florida because we're gonna do the fest. And I've never been to Fest Wrestling in Gainesville, but it's a hoot and a half. Like, you guys got to go. It's a trip. So I'm like, when's the show? They're like, well, the show's on Sunday. I'm like, so what are we gonna do all day Saturday? Oh, we're gonna Universal for Horror Nights. Oh, word? Yeah,
right.
We're gonna do that. And so, so I'm like, oh shit, like, hell yeah. Just a group of guys in the car going to Universal, act dumb as shit. That's all we did. We damn near closed that place down. So at this point in time, it's like 11:30. We've been on the road all morning long. And I'm like, so where are we staying? And followed by, we don't know. I'm sorry. What? Like, yeah, we haven't thought that far ahead yet. The fuck you mean you haven't thought that far ahead yet? It's like, well, we were going to try to see if we can get something in Orlando or da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, boys, it's 11:30 on a Saturday in Orlando.
Town. Yeah.
There ain't shit available that you guys are going to want to sleep at. They're like, well, we can all go to Gainesville and just kind of crash in the car and da-da-da-da. And I was like, hold on a second. So, like, I use hotels.com because, you know, I get free nights, whatever. And I just find it just so happen to have a free night. Just right on the button. And I'm like, hey, boys, I got us. Don't worry about it. I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah, man, don't worry about it. Like, I fucking got it. And so, like, just luck, just a stroke of fucking luck. Like, we find this hotel, and it's literally, like, they have, like, we took the last room. So now you got 4 guys in a 2 double room, splitting beds. And I am just like, this is my life right now, and I am okay with this. And so, really, at that point, like we're just all goofing off. Because at this point in time, you're just with your bud. And so we're in the room goofing off, and Iggy he hates me now because he does all these dad jokes. He has a book of dad jokes, which are actually pretty funny. Like, look it up. It's pretty fucking trip. So he told this joke, and he's like, "Oh shit, you heard this joke before." He tells the joke, and it was like something. Hey, do you want something to, like, basically he took some chick to the dance, whatever. I go, wait a minute, is this one where there was no punchline? And the look of murder that was on Nick's face, like, you motherfucker, if you ever destroy one of my jokes ever again, I'll kill you. And I'm like, dude, are you that upset right now because I stole the punchline of your joke? And everybody's like, yeah, he takes his dad jokes pretty seriously. What do you mean? The joke? He's like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like, what do you mean you don't want to talk to me anymore? We're sharing the same bed together. What do you mean? He's like, no. I'm like, man, I'm going to touch your butt tonight. He's like, I don't care. I don't want to talk to you for the rest of the night. And I was like, all over a joke. And so every once in a while, I'll talk to him. I was like, hey, there was no punchline. And he goes, we're not talking anymore. And I'm like, oh, don't be like that. He's like, we're not talking anymore. Like, I still have to forgive you for that. I'm like, come on. Like, no. I will, as long as I live, fuck you for sticking my joke. I'm like, all right, bro, you got it, man.
Oh my.
That's another T-shirt.
Yeah.
There was no punchline.
There was no punchline. With an outline of the Kool-Aid Man behind him. Yeah.
Yes.
I like it. Christopher, get on that. Design that.
I'm on it. I'm jotting it down.
Write it down.
Jot it down.
Oh man. Okay. Well, now we're at favorites. We're gonna try to get some of your favorites. So, we already heard your favorite baseball team is the Yankees.
Yep.
Your de facto favorite hockey team is the Capitals.
Yep.
Who's your favorite football team?
College or pro?
We're gonna go pro.
Baltimore Ravens.
Okay. Hey, you're in the right area.
Down. I've been down since '96. I'm like down since Vinny Testaverde took the first fucking snap.
Nice.
Dropping the Testaverde.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, right? The pride of Miami, baby. Yeah.
Okay, so you're traveling. We just had a traveling story.
Okay.
What is on the radio? What are you listening to?
Whew. Oh, boy. Right, I tell you what I've been listening to right now on repeat. Little Wings by Jimi Hendrix. It's maybe like 2.5 minutes long, but it's just a dope little song. Like that's been on repeat like quite a bit. My taste, man, my musical tastes are like a Jackson Pollock painting, dude. It's everywhere. I like a little bit of rock. I like hip hop, pop, classical stuff. Like there's moments where like the classical stuff, like man, I really fucking get into it.
If you get into some dark Beethoven ones, man, those are some interesting symphonies and stuff that he has.
Yeah, man, and it's just like right now the one song I've really been on right now is pretty much like Four Seasons, like Winter One. It's great. It's great. I love hearing individual instruments and stuff like that. Like I love it. Like I like to pinpoint it. I like to see where they're coming in and where they're not coming in and when they fade out. They do this, they do that. And so stuff like that, like I really get hype on. That's why like when like for Shinsuke, when he did his NXT stuff and he came out with that dude with the violin, I lost it. Anytime someone uses live instruments to do an entrance, I'm in. Like I don't care what you do at that point. I'm in. Like I'm so in. Like I love Walter's theme. I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
And it fits so well because people can do it live. And I'm like, yeah, I'm here for this. Like I'm invested in you now.
That's awesome.
All right, O'Shea, I'm gonna blow your mind. Chuck, tell O'Shea what your job was in a former life and what you can do.
So in a former life, I was an assistant director of a band program in Connecticut. mainly worked with the marching band, the pep band, and a little bit of the concert band. Conducted, did all that stuff. And I mean, not that you can see us right now, but I'm a bald-headed, bearded, bigger guy. I'm like 5'11", probably 295, 300, and I played the piccolo and the flute all through my school years while in music.
Believe it or not, like, that doesn't even shock me.
I like that.
Like, it doesn't. Like, I'm like, no, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
That's if you said something about the tuba, I'm like, all right, that was a little stereotypical. But like no, but the flute, I'm in. Like, it takes a certain breed of person to play that instrument. It just does. It just does. My mother played the violin. It's where I got my love of music from. I can't play or lick. Like, I tried to play hot cross buns, and I'm pretty sure I offended somebody by playing it. And it was god awful to the point where I go, you know what? This isn't for me. And I just put it up. I'm like, I'm done. Nah, I'm all right. I'm good. Mom, I'm leaving it up to you. Hey, like stuff like live instruments, a live band. Like, I love, man. Like, in Atlanta, they used to have Battle of the Bands all the time in the Georgia Dome. And it was a treat. Like, anybody, the marching band was coming up and they were going to show out. And I loved it. Like, I absolutely loved it.
That's some awesome stuff. Now, you mentioned classical, and you mentioned that you like rock. I would check out I think it's the London Symphony's Kashmir album. They do all Led Zeppelin stuff, and it's all from the London Symphony Orchestra. It is absolutely amazing. I don't know if you're into Zeppelin, but that is a great album.
I can be.
We have reached level 8 of best friends, like right now. Like, that's where we're at. Level 8.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Let's see. What other favorites? Okay. You've traveled around a lot. What's your favorite city to visit?
International or nationally?
We'll go globally.
Globally, okay. I would say it's a tie with Osaka and Toronto.
Oh.
But Osaka edges it out, man. I love the time I spent in Japan. I spent like maybe a week and a half in Japan.
Oh.
And I loved every bleeding second of it. Like, Japan has been one of the places I wanted to go since I was a little kid. And to finally get a chance to go as an adult was like, to be able to check something off your bucket list it's amazing, man. It feels great. Like, the last day I was there, dude, I'm not gonna lie, like, I cried the last day because I didn't want to go home. Like, I didn't want to go home. I just wanted to stay there. But if I had to round out the podium, third place is Sydney.
Okay.
Like, it's Osaka, Toronto, and Sydney. And I, like, yep. Like, if you give me one of the 3 places, wouldn't turn it down. Like, yep, let's go.
Nice. Now, in the U.S., what has been your favorite city to wrestle in?
Nashville. Hands down. Hands down. Nashville. If everything didn't work up here the way it did, like, that's where I was going next. Like, I was gonna just settle down in Nashville. That was gonna be it. To this day, the wrestling scene in Nashville, guys have been like, yeah, you pretty much Nashville's adopted son. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, Nashville was a home for me before I even knew what a home was. And it was one of those things coming up in the wrestling business. Like, Georgia told me no so many different times where I wasn't their guy, or because they already had something like me, or they didn't believe in what I could bring to the table, or they didn't want to give me a chance to do what I could do on the table. And so the best thing that ever happened to me career-wise was Georgia. The state of Georgia wrestling had to tell me no, because once they told me no, it forced me to go everywhere else.
Yeah.
But once again, though, the dream is free. The hustle sold separately. And so it was one of those things. As soon as I got to Nashville, man, they just embraced me so hard. And I think I went back maybe a month ago, and I was in Chattanooga, and I had a segment and I almost broke, one of the things I said was, I don't regret a lot, but one thing I do regret was leaving Tennessee. Like that came from the heart. Like I regretted. I knew that me leaving the South, like I was going to have to let Nashville and like Chattanooga go, and that hurt me because I love that place so much. But I love what I'm doing, and I love what's to come even more. So I had to let it go.
Yeah,
that stung. Like that stung a lot, and I will always stay true to Nashville. I will always stay loyal to Nashville, no matter what.
Nashville is a fun city. We've
yeah, man.
We've been there. It is a fun is a fun place to visit, no matter what you're there for.
Right? Yeah. It's a great time. It's real easy to get into. Baltimore, Southwest flies are from Baltimore on the hour, every hour. So it's like getting in and out is nothing. And so like it just makes it even easier for me to get. If I got to get there, I can get there. No big deal.
Yeah. Okay. In your career, who have you had the most fun with in the ring? Who's your favorite opponent? And it could be because of a certain match. It could be because of the chemistry you have with this person. But who would be your favorite opponent?
Brett Ison. Me and Brett go back about 4 or 5 years. Like I have Brett the following day. Like that Saturday, I gotta wrestle Brett. To the point where I built a series of promos just for this one match. Like I built a series of promos just for this match. Me and Brett have been like tag partners. Me and Brett have gone to war together, and me and Brett have gone to war against each other. Like I told somebody before, like without Brett Ison, there is no me. Like I am not the wrestler I am without him. And on that same vein, there is no Brett Ison without me. There just isn't. Like me and Brett bring that level out of each other where it's just like, I'm gonna beat you. Nah, not if I beat you first. And we're just there. Where we just look at each other and we know where we're at. Any chance I get to be in the ring with Brett, you're just along for the ride. Yeah. Like this isn't a match for fans. No, this is two guys who are going to air out some differences with one another right now, and they're going to be better for it. And then they're going to have a drink, and then they're going to go their separate ways until they meet again. Like Brett is that guy for me. Nice. He will always be that guy for me.
And I know we were kind of, at least I was. Christopher wasn't on this particular interview, but I know we talked to Matt from Action Wrestling, and he brought up Brett's name, and that made me go and check him out even more. So I've watched at least 2 or 3, maybe even more of you guys' matches against each other. So hearing it from your mouth and remembering what I saw in those matches, it really makes a connection now.
Right. If you haven't seen the first part that I've done for this already, I tell people all the time, like, it's a setup. It's a setup for what's coming down the line. Part 2 comes out today, Sunday, so tomorrow. I'm gonna put it out there. And there's 2 more parts after that. I wasn't planning on it being that long. I don't like doing like long promos, but at the same time, like every word that I said, it had to be said, and I can't take a word out, because if I take out one word, it means nothing. So everything I said, it has to be said, because it's the only way you're going to understand where this is coming from. Like, I want to bring in new fans for this, but to bring in new fans, I have to kind of start from the beginning to show you how we got here. Folks, this ain't a one-off. This is 4 or 5 years in the making. And more than likely, once we're done, we're probably still not done. And we're going to keep doing this again. Like, I told Brett on the phone one day, I'm like, dude, we are destined to do this dance forever. Like, we are. We're going to do this dance for until the day one of us quits. We're going to keep doing it. We have to. So this is deep. It's not that simple, you know, but I tell people something like, if you want to get on this train, this is time to get on, because this is going to get real dirty before this gets any better.
And it goes back to that whole storytelling. You know, there's got to be a good story to get people hooked, to make sure that they watch the next chapter and the chapter after that and the chapter after that.
And the beauty thing is, like, Tennessee knows this story. They know this story. We just never gave an ending, and they're hyped. They are. I got guys coming in from Nashville to see it, Atlanta to see it. Like Memphis to come see. Like, guys are coming in. Like, I got to see this. Like, this is something I want to see. And I'm like, good. You're going to want to be here to see this.
Nice. Okay, the last one that I have for the favorites is, who is the dream match against? And I'm going to say that it could be anybody at any point in time in wrestling. So it could be something that could happen, or it could be something that would never happen. So What would your dream match be? Who would it be against?
Okay, so a match that I know that'll never happen. We'll do two of them. The match that I know will never happen is me and The Rock. I know that match will never happen. But in my head, yeah, that'll be fun. I think just promos alone would be absolute trip and a half. In terms of matches that could possibly happen, I want Jeff Cobb.
Ooh.
Like, I want Jeff Cobb. Like, I think you put that on a poster, like, oh shit. You put Jeff Cobb against anybody else, 9 times out of 10 people are gonna go Jeff. But put me on there next to him. Not that easy no more. You know, everything Jeff can do, I can do too. So now it becomes one of those things of just like, who's Will stronger?
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. So, yeah.
That's a good one.
Those are two good answers. Christopher, did any favorite questions pop up in your head?
Things always pop up, and I always am interested in how people are nerding out. And you called yourself a nerd. We're all nerds in different ways.
Yep.
You mentioned video games. You mentioned the newer systems, but being the fact that you were able to have a TV in your room as a kid, I have to imagine you had some video game systems back in the day and had some
that
favorites.
Would be correct.
Had some favorites from back then. So what was your favorite system, and what was your favorite game?
Ooh. Dump it down to the system. Okay.
Yeah.
Because at first I want to say Super Nintendo, because, man, A Link to the Past and Saturday Night Slam Masters were my shit. But growing, like, really, my favorite system was my Nintendo 64.
Every time.
Every
time. Everyone loves that system.
Dude, there's a vintage game store, and I'm trying to find one. Like, let me find a Nintendo 64. I'm blowing at least $500. Like, well, I guess I'm not paying the mortgage this month, and I'm gonna buy me the Nintendo 64 and all the fucking games, whatever. But like, come on, Mario 64? Yo, he was 3D. What? Like, you jump in the lava and he jumps out holding his ass on fire, running around. Like, come on, man, that's dope. It's just what? Dude, The Legend of Zelda. Come on. Look, Kid Link, Adult Link, with the fucking Ocarina of Time. Get just in my vein. It was, dude, when you had to play the music and if you fucked up, like you couldn't get it, I'm like, oh, come on.
Mm-hmm.
We spent so many nights like doped up on fucking Domino's Pizza and Mountain Dew playing Super Smash Brothers. Like, that's all we did. You had that one kid with a system. Hey man, just bring your own controller. That's all we asked. Bring your own controller. And if you're price, I have an extra one. And everyone had a Rumble pack. And it was fun. You either had a Rumble pack or a memory card. But, man, when No Mercy came out, game over. Game over. You couldn't tell me anything. I was creating people left and right. I thought the story mode was great. The way you could unlock people when you finally unlock Andre the Giant. And me and my buddy stayed up all night long trying to 3D Andre the Giant, and we couldn't get it. And then we finally did it, and we were so excited. And then we go, so what do we do now? Now we can play the game. Oh, okay, cool. And that's what we did. Like, those wrestling games were so much fun. I had such a great time on my Nintendo 64. I was really, really bummed when it broke. I was really I wore that system to the ground, man. Woof. But yeah, man, my 64 was good. I enjoyed it. That was the last Nintendo console that I had. Was my 64. After that, I was like, I don't like this stuff anymore.
You couldn't beat it. After that point, there was no beating the 64. So
to me, there wasn't. Like like I didn't want to play. I got a PlayStation. I don't care. I have a Nintendo 64, dog. I can play 4 people. What's up? You know?
Yeah. Enjoy your 2 people. We'll be over here with the 4 of us.
Right. Yeah, you enjoy your PlayStation too. Oh, you got Final Fantasy 7? Oh, for real? Can I come over and play that though? Yeah. Okay.
So you mentioned, creating wrestlers. Did you ever create yourself as a wrestler in a video game?
Come on. Of course I did. It was the first thing I did.
You never know.
Yeah, and then I have to play the game so I can unlock all the moves, all the real dope ass moves, so I can do all that. So pretty much my guy did nothing but finishers. That's all he did was finishers. But I love that. I love that type of RPG style, character creation stuff. Like even now, I still love it. Like one of my favorite games is Skyrim. Like I've beat that game up, down, left, right, and around again. And guess what I'm doing right now? Like, I'm playing another playthrough because I'm like, why not? Try somebody new. Like, I enjoy those open world, the world evolves around you. It's a giant sandbox type game. So anytime I get a chance to, play a good RPG, a good immersive, RPG, I'm in it. I'm all in. I put on my headphones and I'm like, well, I'll see y'all tomorrow. I ain't going to be worth shit a little bit. But no, I really, really enjoyed. Those are fun. Those are really, really fun.
I love video games. I love talking retro games. One of our other podcasters, Big Baby Jimmy, he's big into all the role playing games.
Yeah,
they're all just. There's something out there for everybody when it comes to video games. I think.
Dude, I remember my dad bought a Nintendo for the first time, and I was like, this is amazing. And he bought Zelda with the gold cartridge.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
You remember how expensive those games were?
Yep.
Oh. When he bought it, I was like, oh, it's gold? Ooh, it's gold. And, it was just great. And then, we got a Sega. And, back when Joe Montana's football came out.
Yeah,
and
sports talk football. Yeah. Yes.
Yes, man. Like when Nintendo with Tecmo Bowl and everyone picked the Raiders because you couldn't stop Bo Jackson. Or you picked Blades of Steel because you wanted to be the Kings because wasn't nobody stopping Wayne Gretzky. That was it, we had the little pad that you plugged in, you played track and field and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Right?
O'Shea, I have that still.
Yes!
I have the power pad.
I'm holding that thing right now, bro. Excite Bike?
Love Excite Bike.
Nothing but jumps. That's all jumps.
Yep, all jumps.
That's
just
it.
overheating that engine and flipping it every 2 seconds.
Sit there and wait. All right, cool. Bang! That was it, man. Fuck, bro. And then, I said, I had my Sega. Sonic the Hedgehog was my jam. That's when NBA Jam came out.
Yes.
And everyone loved NBA Jam. But everybody's pissed because Michael Jordan went in the game. But everybody knew all the codes. So you get Bill Clinton, George Clinton, fuck it, whatever, do whatever you want to do. And that's when like Mortal Kombat came, and everybody's getting real pissy about Mortal Kombat. It's too bloody. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, fuck it, whatever. Like I said, then I have my Super Nintendo. Like, that's when I fell in love with like NBA Live on like Super Nintendo. I thought it was great. I had King Griffey Jr.'s baseball on my Super Nintendo. You couldn't tell me nothing. Like, I love this game. But that's when I got like, that's when I started getting to Street Fighter a little bit, and like I said, Saturday Night Slam Masters on Capcom was just amazing. It was an amazing game. Like, I think that game's highly underrated for wrestling games. It doesn't get the love it should. But even still, man, like that was that. And like I said, then at that point in time, I started graduating a little bit. 64, then PS2, PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and then I have Xbox One and PS4. That just kind of sit in my basement, and when I get bored, I'm like, well, going downstairs and play my games. that's where I spend my night.
It's the evolution. It's the evolution of what you're into, and evolution of gaming too. Because you just mentioned like a bunch of games that are very different.
Oh man,
and they were all amazing.
Yeah.
Just going through how gaming has been changing more and more and more. And I want to go back to all those games. So I have all those systems you were just talking about. I haven't gotten into the PS4s and everything. I play Genesis, Nintendo 64, Nintendo, Super Nintendo. That's me. I'm good. I'm going to just stay back there. You guys take all the new games, and I'll just take care of the retro games for you.
Right.
I wish I had those.
Yeah.
I just got my Rock Band.
Yo, I'll kill Rock. Well, so there's an arcade in York, right?
Yeah, down in York City.
Yeah, so I went there. I was there the other day, and I was like, "Yo, this is awesome!" Like, $10 for an hour, and I get to play all the games.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm in for this. Oh, you guys have Turtles in Time? Yeah, I'll play that. You guys have The Simpsons? I'm definitely gonna play that.
Whooping some people with some vacuum cleaners and Marge Simpson. Heck yeah.
Yeah. Marge Simpson on that rollerblade? I'm gonna have a skateboard? Yeah, bro. You ain't gonna tell me nothing right now.
My daughter loves going there.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's an absolute blast.
Oh yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
And it's closer and cheaper than like the Dave & Buster's that's up in Harrisburg.
That's not video games.
I know.
Yeah, and you still have to pay for those.
Yeah.
You still got to pay for those. So, but no, my games are, and like when I got married, my wife was like, "Man, you play your games a lot." I'm like, "Actually, honey, it could be worse." It's like, "What do you mean? I could be booting black tar heroin right now, but I'm not. I'm just playing video games, which means you know where I am at all times. You have a good idea where I am. Like, you got off lucky. You got off real lucky."
See, the best part, I'm a huge Rock Band fan, and when I put it on the one day, my wife was like, "Oh, well, I'll sing. I mean, you got to have a couple of songs that I know," and I have like, I don't even know, 2,000 songs, something like that I've downloaded over time. So like, she'll play with me and she'll sing. My daughter will sing. Like when my daughter's friends are over, like I'll play guitar. Somebody will hop on the drums. We'll just have a whole family rock band session. Well, we're here. We've talked about everything tonight.
Just about.
And we're at the final question. We are at the cookie question. The most important question.
Okay.
Now, Oreo cookies. Are you on Team Single Stuff, the classic Oreo, or Team Double Stuff?
I had to think about this one, right? Because the part of me was like, "Oh, I can do either or." And if I said that, I'd be lying to you. So I have to answer this question like I answered the peanut butter and jelly question, right? Like some people like more peanut butter in their jelly. Some people like more jelly in their peanut butter. And but either answer like isn't wrong. I'm not gonna lie. I am a purist when it comes to my Oreo because I do enjoy the whole ratio of cream to cookie. I do. And if you have more than one than the other, it's just off. It's just off for me. And I can eat Oreo cookies by the sleeve, like a wood chipper. Just put them in my mouth, and you'll just see little Oreo bits go flying, Oreo dust just in the air as you just see me gonna go next sleeve. And so, like, I have to stick with my guns and go, I'm a single Oreo guy. Just because of, like, I need that perfect ratio of cookie to cream, just like on my peanut butter jelly sandwich. I need that good ratio of bread to jelly to peanut butter. Because if you have too much, you're like, ugh, this is coming out good at all. So for me, it has to be the single stuff Oreo cookie.
Well,
Friend level lowered one peg.
That's about a 7. So we're good.
we're still
good. We're still at a
good.
7. We're still at level
good.
7, which is strong. Very strong.
Exactly.
Well, Shay, we're not going to knock you for that. Everyone is allowed to make their decision about the Oreo cookies. That's why we asked the question. And we appreciate you being honest and not just giving us the, well, I like both. So I do appreciate that.
I've come too far to pussy out now, Max.
Exactly. So this has been a blast. We've had so much fun talking about your career, how you've gotten here, what's coming, what could come in the future. Really, we want to thank you. Thank you for your time tonight. Thank you for taking the ride with us, driving, talking to us.
Thank you guys taking a ride with me. It was more
There you go. Well, we appreciate your time, and we want to know, where can people go find you? Where are they going to go find O'Shea Edwards?
Sure. So on the Twitters, it's Big Bad Kaiju, Kaiju, just like that. And there's only one of me, so it's one of those. As soon as you see me, yeah, you know it's me. So you can find me on Twitter, on Instagram. It's All Damn Day O'Shea. It's there too. If any promoters listening, and you should be listening to this podcast. If not, we're gonna have to talk. It's you can get me on the email, book O'Shea all day at gmail.com. I tell people all the time, you can find me on Facebook. I don't advise it, because if I don't know you, I'm not gonna add you. So there's also that. But I'm there on the face space as well. But usually my main two are going to be Instagram and Twitter.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure to have all that at the end in the credits. I'm sure Chuck will do the nice voiceover as well, because we just love hearing more Chuck. I mean, that's just great for everybody.
I mean, look at that sultry voice. Sultry voice.
That's right. And obviously, don't forget to go check out O'Shea when he goes into Tyrone, Georgia to wrestle for Action Wrestling on October 2nd. And then follow along. We're going to drive to Chattanooga for TWE and see him wrestle in Chattanooga. So it's like, it's a double decker. We got 2 days of wrestling.
Come see some murders. Come see murders, everybody.
Yes. Someone might die.
It's a quad decker, because
it's
each
actually
night
quad
is
decker.
2 shows.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Someone's gonna die. I can't wait.
Well, don't forget, we're going to put all the socials out there. Make sure you go follow all the sponsors for these great shows. Follow us, obviously. Go hit the like button. Go hit the subscribe button. Hold tight, because we're going to have a few more of these interviews leading up to the show. And come hang out at the show. I think there was like 5 tickets left for the Friday night show still. I'm going to be there on Friday. O'Shea Edwards is going to be there. We're going to be going to Chattanooga the next day. Maybe I'll hop in the car. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
You never know what's going to happen, man. It's going to be great.
It's going to be a good time. O'Shea, thank you for your time. We really appreciate you talking with us. We look forward to seeing what comes of the future, and we hope to be along for the ride.
Brothers, thank you guys so much for this. Like anytime I do this, these are always humbling for me. I don't think I'm a big deal. I'm not a big deal. I'm just a guy who just likes beating people up. So the fact that you guys actually wanted to talk to me, it's humbling. It's really it's really big. Like, if I can go back in time and talk to my 8-year-old self and be like, hey, dude, in like, 20-something years, you're going to be big shit. And people don't want to talk to you. My 8-year-old self probably say, go fuck yourself and get out of my face. So like anytime something like this happens, man, it's still, like I said, I'm humbled that you guys actually want to come talk to me. I appreciate everything you're doing. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity and this platform to like really like get myself out there.
No problem. It was our pleasure.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely. And thank you once again. Just like Christopher said, make sure you like, subscribe, go follow O'Shea everywhere. Go follow Action Wrestling. Go, watch the shows. If you're close, there's like 5 tickets left. You can snatch one of them up if you're close enough in Georgia.
Hell yeah.
We'll check you out next time, and we'll see you around. Later.
You can find the Big Bad Kaiju, O'Shea Edwards, on Twitter at Big Bad Kaiju. That's Kaiju. He's also on Instagram, big.bad.kaiju. For all booking inquiries, go to booko'sheaallday@gmail.com. And you can find him on YouTube and get his merchandise at whatamaneuver.net. Just search for O'Shea Edwards. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at The Bald Monkeys. You can also check out our interviews on WrestleJoy.com. Make sure to subscribe on our YouTube page to watch our previous interviews or our roundtable discussions. Just search for The Bald Monkeys. Watch us live on our new Twitch channel, twitch.tv/The Bald Monkeys. And finally, listen to the Bald Monkeys podcast on Apple iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from.